Hello everyone and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create beautiful professional product pages using WooCommerce and WordPress. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So over here, this is the actual page that we're going to be designing. So I chose to design this page as a handbag or promoting a handbag. So as I scroll here, you notice that we're going to have a fade effect here on where it says New Gucci. And then over here, this is our main product. And I've also added this action which says offer ends in, and then it also has the date and time and so on. So this is the design that I'll be showing you how to do step by step, no skip step. Yeah. Now, before we get started, I'd like to say that if you're brand new to web design and you'd like to learn how to design professional looking websites with Divi, if you buy Divi using my affiliate link, I will give you access to my web design formula course, which teaches you how to design these kind of professional looking websites. And secondly, I also have a VIP membership on funnelstoincome.com. If you sign up for that, you'll get access to all my tutorials, all my templates, and any other future courses that I create as long as your membership is active. All right, so before we get started, let's dive in and let me show you how to create this beautiful page using Divi. So we're going to start our project by choosing beautiful images. So for this to work, you really need nice images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a website called unsplash.com, and these are all royalty-free images. So this is the first image that we're going to use of this handbag. I've already gone ahead and downloaded it. And we're also going to use one more image, and that is of the lady that we're going to have on the main page holding the handbag. So let's start by working on this image because it's not ready to go into our design yet. So we need to go into Photoshop and start working on it. So here I've just created a page which is 1000 by 1000 pixels. Now it's time to drag in our image. So I'm just going to drag my image over here. That's the image of the handbag, which I downloaded. Okay, so to begin with, what we're going to do is we're just going to resize this a little bit. Okay, and I'll show you why. So I'm just going to hit enter to accept that. And then on the bottom here, we're going to add a brand new layer. So I'm going to click on this plus button and drag the layer behind this image that you've just added there. Making sure your your foreground color here is set to black. Click OK. We're just going to add black as the background by holding down Alt or Option Backspace. So that will just add my background color. So now we can see we have black and we have our image. So the next stage now is very important because this is where we get to pretty much isolate the background and let it blend into the black that we've just added. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do here is to start by choosing a brush. So to add a brush, you just press the letter B. And also, by the way, if you want to learn how to use Photoshop to create beautiful images for your website, you can go ahead and join the VIP membership. I've added the link to that in the video description below if this is way too much for you. Okay, so next I'm going to make my brush bigger by pressing the right bracket key. So as you can see, as I'm pressing the bracket key, my brush is getting bigger and bigger. Over here on the layers, in fact, let me get rid of my image, my video here. Over here on the layers, you want to make sure you're working on the layer of the handbag right there. So you can see here when I click the eye icon, it's on and off. So this is the layer that we need to be working on. So before we can start adding our brush, so we can just click on here and it's going to come up with this pop-up. Just say yes to that. And then let's start painting. So you can see here as I'm painting, my background here is blending. My image here is blending with the background. So that's pretty much a good selection right there. Just a quick selection. So that looks okay. So I think I will go with that. So we just isolated our foreground and let it blend with the background. So I'm pretty much happy with that. So the next stage now is to save this. So I'm just going to hold Shift, Alt, Command S. That's my shortcut for saving. And then I'm just going to hit save, but making sure over here, before you save, make sure you save it as a JPEG. It's important that you save it as a JPEG. Okay, so now that I've set it as a JPEG, I'm going to click on save. We're going to give this a name. So let's just call this handbag, and I'm going to save it to my desktop. So I'm going to click save, and we have our image. Now the next image we're going to add here is going to be an image which is going to be for our banner. So to do that, we're going to come over here as well, file, and then we're going to say new. So our size here is going to be 1920 by 1080. Select that and hit create. Now I'm going to drag my image, and like I said before, my images are all from royalty-free websites. So I'm just going to drag my image into here, and then I'm just going to drag it a bit more so we can fill in the whole space. There we go. And then I'm just going to hit enter. Now, here's the thing. The next stage now is to just add a transparency or a gradient here. So to do that, I'm going to come over here and click on the gradient tool, making sure that over here on the top, you hit basics. You want to make sure here that you drag to transparency. Okay, so with that selected now, I'm going to hit OK. And then we're going to start dragging. You could not use gradient tool because it's much. Okay, so let me duplicate this layer. And I'm just going to right click here and say rasterize layer. Okay, so now this is going to allow us to make edits to this. Okay, so I'm going to start dragging my gradient now just by dragging here from the bottom up. Okay, so over here on the top, you want to make sure that your mode is set to normal. That's what's going to allow this to work. So now I'm just going to drag up like that. So you can see here my gradient is coming here from the bottom up. So the idea here is we want to make sure that this part here is black, because we are going to now add this to our website, and we want this to blend correctly. All right, so moving on. I think we've done enough here on this image. Let's save this image. And again, we need to make sure we save it as a JPEG and then hit on save. Now I'm also going to save this to the desktop. So I'm just going to say image banner and then hit save. All right, so now we have our two images. It's time now to go to Divi and create our product page. So before we can create our product page, what we need to do is to add the product in WooCommerce. So this is a WooCommerce tutorial. You want to make sure you install WooCommerce first before you can start doing this. All right, so let's continue now by, let's minimize Photoshop and let's go to our website here. So I'm going to start off by coming over here to the products, and we are going to add a new product. So let's just call this product handbag. All right, so we need to add our text. So I'm going to go to Lorem 2. So this is where we're going to just use our dummy text. So I'm just going to copy a few paragraphs here and paste it in here. So that's going to be our product description. Next, we need to add our image. So I'm going to click here on set product image, upload, select files. So we're going to select our image that we've just created, the handbag. So double click on that and then set import image. There we go. So now we have our image. Next, over here, we need to add our pricing. So let's say this bag is $699. And then let's add a short description here as well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of text for our short description. And I just want this to be one paragraph. There we go. All right, so now that we have all this in place, I'm going to hit publish. Great, so we've added our product. So the next stage now is to go in and create the design of our page, which is the main tutorial that we are waiting for. So over here on pages, you want to click on add new. So the new page, you can name it whatever you want. But for this example, we're just going to call this handbag. Okay, so I'm going to hit use Divi Builder. And we're going to build this from scratch. All right, so the first section here is going to be single column. And let's add a text module. In fact, you know what? Let's not add any modules yet. So on the top here, we're going to add a background. So I'm going to come over here to background and we're going to add an image. And we are going to add that image that we created in Photoshop. So let us upload our image. So I'm going to hit select. And our image here is the image banner. Click open. So we are going to use this as our main image. So I'm going to hit upload an image. So now we can see our image in there. Great. I'm going to save this. And now it's time to add a new section. So I'm going to click on this plus button and this is going to be regular. So for this, I'm going to have 2/3, 1/3. Okay, so I'm going to save that. And then I'm also going to add a black background for this. So I'm going to click on this plus button and add my color. Okay, let's go ahead and save. Now, as you can see here, my blending hasn't worked really well, but I'm sure we can fix that in Divi as well. So let's go ahead and try and work on that. So I'm going to click here on section settings, hit background, and then I'm going to come over here to my, oh, in fact, you know what? If we expand this area here, it's going to show our gradient. So let's go in and add some padding. So I'm going to click here on spacing and let's start off by adding, let's say 10 VW, both to the top and the bottom. So you can see here our blending is getting better. So I'm just going to add a bit more. There we go. So that looks much better now. But it's not quite there yet because I can see here we have a line. So we're going to address this. Let me go back over here to my background and just make sure that this is a solid black. So you can see here it's not black at all. Right, let's have a look. So I'm going to go in and just add all zeros. Okay, that's much better. So I'm going to save that. So now we can see our layers, our sections are now blending in. Okay, I'm great. I'm happy with that now. Let's start adding all our content. So the first thing we're going to do here is to add our Woo image. So I'm just going to search for Woo image. Select that. And this is where our main handbag is going to go. So as you can see here, it's been added by default, which is great. So I just want to make sure that I choose the handbag here. Okay. So my handbag is now added. And the next stage is to just go into design here, sizing. I just want to make sure that my sizing options here are correct. So this is say 100%. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to come over here to the image and I'm just going to say force full width so that it fits that whole space. So with that set, I'm going to click on save changes. Okay, so let's take a quick peek at this page. And as we can see here, it's starting to take shape. And I'm really, really happy about this. All right, so moving on over here now, we need to start adding more information. So I'm going to click here on this plus button and let's add a text module. Oh, in fact, we need Woo title. So I'm going to choose Woo title. And now you can see it's showing handbag, but on the product, I need to make sure that it's choosing the right product. Now let's head over here to design and let's take a look at our title text. So over here, I'm just going to try and use something different because I've been using a lot of pop-ins pretty much everywhere. So let's see. Let's go with EB Garamond. So this is a slightly different font here. So on the colors, I'm going to go with... let's go with this color here. I think this works really well over here. So I'm going to make it all caps and we're going to increase the size as well. So I'm going to go ahead and increase the size to about 48. Okay, I really like that. I'm going to save. And then I'm also going to add the description. So I'm going to add Woo description. Select it. So just to be consistent, I'm also going to use the EB Garamond. So I'm going to choose my product here, make sure I've selected handbag. And on the design, I'm going to go to my text and change this to EB Garamond as well. And now let's change the color. So the color I'm going to go with here is a slight gray, because white is going to be a bit too much here for our design. So let's go with a gray. So I'm going to go with that. So I think that would work better. Now let's adjust our text size. So I'm going to increase this to about, let's say 20. And then I also need to add some line height. So let's try 1.7. In fact, you know what? Let's do 1.8. No, I'm a bit undecided. So let's go with 1.8. All right, so that looks okay. Save that and just take a quick look. All right, so far so good. I like the way it's blending in here. Right. So the next stage is we need to add our add to cart button. So I'm going to click here on this plus button and search for add to cart. I'm going to select that. And let's go in and customize this. So I'm going to start here. You know what? Because this bag is quite expensive, you may not want to add 2 of them in the basket, but I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. But anyway, if we want to add more than one, we'll just leave this. Here. But if you want to disable it, you come over here to show quantity, and then you can just say no to that. And then now we're just left with the add to cart button. So I'm going to go with that. Let's go with the add to cart button. So I'm going to click here on this brush tool, and this is going to take me to my styles. So to add our styles, we need to activate use custom styles for button. And then we can now go ahead and start adding all our colors. So I'm going to start with my background. So I really want my background here to stand out. And for my text color, I'm going to go with white. And for the size, I'll just leave the size as it is. And let's head over here to border radius, set that to 0. And for border width, I'm going to get rid of that as well. And then let's change our button font. So for our button font here, we're going to go with EB Garamond, and we're going to make it all caps. And let's see what it looks like when we make it bold or semi-bold. You know what? Let's leave it at regular. That looks fine enough. Okay, I'm going to save that. Now we need to add the pricing. So I'm going to click here on this plus button and let's search for our Woo pricing. Select it. Over here, making sure you're choosing the product itself. Now let's customize this text. And we're going to come over here to design, price text, and we're going to change this to EB Garamond. And let's increase the size. Nice and big. Okay, so we're going to go with $6.99. Maybe let's make it a bit smaller. Okay, now let's add our pricing. So let's go with this color here. And in fact, let's play around with different colors and see what works better. So should I go with that or should I go with this dark gray? Okay, let's go with this. So the next stage now is to just add this into position. So I'm going to save it and drag it above the add to cart. Okay, so as we take a look at this, we can see that we need to add some margins above the button so that we these elements here have enough breathing space. So I'm going to click here and go to design, spacing, and on the top here, I'm just going to use the dial to add my spacing. In fact, let's even use VW for this because I want my sizes to be okay in all devices. So I'm just going to reduce this a little bit. Let's go with 3. And then we also need to do the same on the price. So we're going to go in here, go to design, and let's click on spacing. So let's go with 3 VW. Okay, so that looks much better now. We may want to add a little bit here on the button, but to be honest, as I'm looking at this looks okay. All right, so one other thing that we may need to add here is maybe a bit of urgency. So we could add maybe something that goes along the lines of this deal will end in whatever time, you know, because this is a promo. So, but before we do that, I just want to go in here and just add a spacer. So I'm going to click here on this plus button and add a divider. Sorry, not spacer. Need to add a divider. And for this divider, I am going to disable this because I don't want the divider to show. And then here on sizing, I can actually add my height for my divider here. So let's see what works best here. So let's go with 100 pixels to do it for now. In fact, let's go with VW. Save that. And let's exit the Visual Builder. So I'm curious to see what this page looks like so far. Okay, so this is our main page here. So as I'm scrolling here, we can see that our product really stands out here. Looks really nice. Now, I'm not really sure if I should add my title here on this side or I should have it somewhere around here. Let's play around with that. Now, these are sort of the decisions that you're going to get as you're designing your pages. Sometimes you want to play around with different layouts. So that's what we're going to do now because this is the real life decisions that you'll be making as you're designing your site. So I want you to go through this with me. So let's go in here and play around with that. So enable our Visual Builder. So we're just going to wait for this to load. There we go. Right. So this handbag here, that's the title of this bag. So I think we should just leave this as it is. But over here, let's just add something that really complements our main design. So let's add a text module. But in this text module, we're just going to say new handbags or something. Or let's say, I don't know, should we say new handbags or should that be the actual title of the handbag? I know we've got conflicting brands here. Here I've got Burberry and over here I've got I think that's Gucci. So that's a bit of a mess up. But anyway, this is about the design itself. So let's say new. Okay, let's go with this as our title. I'm going to make this a heading. So I'm going to go to heading 1, design, heading text. Then we're going to change this to EB Garamond. Right, so this is where we can center it and add our colors. I think this color here works well with what we have going on here. I may want to change this one here on the bottom. So let's increase our size. Let's go with, let's say 10 VW and see what that looks like. Wow, I think that looks really nice. I'm sure you guys can agree with me. Now let's play around with the colors and see what works. I don't know. I'm not sure if I should use that or white. Okay, let's leave that for now. And you know that divider that we added, let's get rid of it and see how this works. Okay, now let's go in and further customize this by going in here, design. So the next stage is to go to our box shadow. In fact, we don't need the box shadow. We need to go into the text and then look for our shadows. Right. So you can see this is a slight shadow, but I'm sure you can agree with me that this has just made our text stand out from the background there. So I think that looks really nice there. Okay. What we can also do while we're here is we can also add our scroll effects. So the scroll effect we're going to use here is we want this to blur as we're scrolling up. So let's enable blur. And let's go to the ending. So you don't want it too much. So let's see. let's go with about 2. Okay, so right here on the top, if I start scrolling, you can see now it's blurring and then it goes. But let's increase this a bit more. Let's go with 4, maybe even a bit more. Okay, let's see how that looks. I think I like that. Okay, so it fades out as I'm scrolling up. Okay, that looks great. But you know what? I'm just going to increase the mid part here. Yeah, I think that looks great. So I'm going to save that. And over here now, for the title of our handbag, I don't know if this should go here or over here at this side. So let's try that and see what happens. Okay, let's center this. So I'm going to click here on design, title, text, and center. Yeah, I think this works better. So now I am going to change the color of this text. So I'm going to go to this brush tool, title, text. Okay. So I'm going to go with that, but let me play around with my letter spacing here. Okay, I think that looks nice. And I'm just going to reduce the size a little bit here. There we go. So that's going to be our name of our handbag, but I'm just going to call it handbag. Okay, now here on the price, because our colors now don't really look, I mean, this title here and my pricing here does not really work well. We want the eye to focus on the price, and then we want our movement of our eye to come over here to the price down here. So let's go ahead and change the price color. So for the price color, I'm going to go with a gray. So let's play around with that. Right, so I'm going to go with a very slight gray here. There we go. I'm pretty much happy with that. I'm going to save that. Now over here, perhaps we may want to add some letter spacing as well, because I think when I added some letter spacing, it really worked in that design. So I'm going to come back over here and let's go to heading text. And I'm going to increase my letter spacing. It just makes it look more classier. Reduce the size. There we go. Let's save that. I really like that. Okay. Now, the next stage is to add our countdown timer. So let's say this is a promo and we'd like people to buy this as quickly as possible. We can add our timer by clicking here on this plus button, and let's add a single column. And let's search for our countdown timer. Right, so here there's a bit of work to do. So for our title, I'm just going to say offer ends in, and then colon. And here is where we can add our date and time. So let's say we want this to end on maybe today's the 19th. So let's say just a few days, 4 days, right? The offer is going to end in 4 days. Now let's customize this. So first of all, I'm going to remove the background because I'm not a fan of this default background. And then I'm going to go in now and customize the rest of the design. So for this, I'm going to go to design, and then I'm going to start here with the offer. So I'm going to change my font here to EB Garamond, and I'm also going to reduce the size a little bit because we don't want this right in your face, and then add some letter spacing. Now for the text color, I think I'll leave it as white because it is very important here, so it needs to stand out. So over here now on the text, again for the numbers text, I'm going to change this to Garamond, and Let's reduce the size a little bit. Let's go with 36. And over here, we're going to do the same. Change this to EB Garamond. Okay, so that's looking much better now. Let's increase our text a little bit. Right, now we can also further customize this by coming over here to content. In fact, you know what? It's here on design. We can go into our separator here and change the colors of that if we need to. So I'm going to make them gray. And then the days and so on, I'm going to change that as well. Okay, so that looks much better now. We're going to save that. So now I'm going to go to my section settings and add a bit more padding to the bottom. So I'm going to click here on spacing and padding bottom. I'm just going to add, let's say, 5 VW. Okay, let's increase that. There we go. So I'm going to save that. Now, the next important thing is to go in and make sure that this looks great on all devices. So I'm just going to click here and click on the tablet view and just take a look at it on the tablet view. So here on the tablet view, doesn't look too bad. So I may want to center this, but you know what? I think I can live with that. And then next over here on the mobile view, again, it doesn't look too bad. So again, I'm happy with that. Okay, so pretty much this is our final design. I'm going to hit publish and then take a quick look at this design one more time. So now if I exit the Visual Builder, if we scroll, we can see now that our blur action is working, and we also have our offer countdown. So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're brand new to web design, if you buy Divi using my affiliate link, I will give you access to my web design formula. This is a course that teaches you how to design professional looking websites with Divi. The links to all of that is in the video description below. All right, that's all. That does it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.